This video was made possible by Dashlane. Never lose a password by signing up with Dashlane for free at dashlane.com/HAI. Welcome to Scotland. But wait, where's the Iron Brew, the kilts, the Greggs, the vegan sausage rolls, the deep-fried Mars bars, the beautiful vistas, the cone hats, the drunkards, the loud American tourists, the 5 annual days of sun, the sticky nightclub floors, the endless seagulls? Oh wait, here are the seagulls. This must really be Scotland. You see, the reason this is Scotland is because of the UK's never-ending quest to claim tiny, terrible rocks in the middle of the ocean. Now, this rock, called ROCKALL, is further away from Edinburgh, Scotland's capital, than Edinburgh is from London, the UK's capital. In fact, ROCKALL is closer to Tórshavn, the capital of the Faroe Islands, than it is to Edinburgh. It's nowhere near Scotland. So why does the UK so desperately want it to be part of their country? Money. Now, the UK has plenty of tiny, terrible islands off the coast of Scotland like Sula, Skier, St Kilda, the Flannan Islands, and more. Almost universally, Scotland's tiny, terrible islands are uninhabited, aside from a few temporary military and conservation personnel. Now, the UK had good motivation for annexing ROCKALL, the most isolated of the tiny, terrible islands, back in the 50s. In the many centuries of flip-flop between liking and disliking whatever country currently existed here, this was a period when the UK didn't like them, the Soviets. The UK had a missile testing range here in the Outer Hebrides, and they didn't want the Soviets setting up on ROCKALL and spying on them, which they could possibly legally do since ROCKALL wasn't definitively claimed by anyone. Because of that, the immortal Queen Elizabeth ordered the Royal Navy to sail out to ROCKALL, plant a flag, place a plaque, and claim it, which they officially did at 10:16 a.m. on September 18, 1955, marking the last ever expansion of the British Empire. Now, here's the thing. Nobody really currently actively disputes that the rock is British. They got to it first, they claimed it, it's theirs. This water, on the other hand, is some controversial water. You see, back in 1982, after 14 years of negotiations, a bunch of selfless world leaders gathered in Montego Bay, Jamaica to plot their signatures down on this, the United Nations Convention of the Law of the Sea. This is one of the most consequential UN treaties to have ever been signed because it effectively decided, definitively, how this whole area, the 71% of the world that is ocean, works politically. This treaty has been signed by almost every nation in the world. Now, just take a moment to guess what single large developed nation decided they were special enough to not participate in this treaty. Yeah, it's the US. While the US effectively follows most of the rules of this treaty, it has not signed it since, according to arguments against, it would subject the US to dumb things like environmental standards and sharing. One big part of the treaty, though, was the establishment of the concept of exclusive economic zones. Typically, the zone within 200 nautical miles, 230 miles, 370 kilometers, or 3.9125 times 10 to the negative 11th light years of a country's coast is a country's EEZ. This area is not part of a country, they don't have sovereignty over it, but they do have exclusive rights to all natural resources, including fish and oil, within it. The UK, with its proclivity for claiming tiny, terrible islands, has a pretty large and geographically varied EEZ in the Indian, Atlantic, and Pacific Oceans. ROCKALL, here, could hypothetically have an exclusive economic zone of this, but of course, there's the Republic of Ireland here and the Faroe Islands, which are an autonomous country of Denmark, here. While it's determined on a case-by-case basis, how it normally works when two countries' EEZs overlap is each point just goes to the nearest country, so that puts ROCKALL's EEZ as this, and so in 1977, that's what the United Kingdom claimed. But if we go to Part 8, Article 121 of the treaty, we can find the definition of what an island is as a natural formed area of land surrounded by water, which is above water at high tide, and then an island isn't a rock which cannot sustain human habitation or economic life of their own, and artificial islands don't count. China. Fashionably late, the United Kingdom signed this treaty in 1997. ROCKALL, surprisingly, given it literally has rock in its name, has no flat land, no vegetation, it'd be impossible for anyone to live there permanently without support from shore. Therefore, after years of asserting that ROCKALL was, in fact, an island, and therefore that their EEZ was this, the United Kingdom voluntarily reclassified it as a rock, and therefore reset their EEZ as this. It's fine though, the UK are experts at losing territory. Nowadays, the quest for this area of ocean goes on. According to the same treaty, countries are allowed to submit claims for their EEZs to extend further than 200 nautical miles if the continental shelf extends further based off a whole host of insanely complicated definitions and qualifications. So in 2009, the UK submitted this document outlining how they believe they fulfilled these insanely complicated definitions and qualifications. To this, Iceland and Denmark submitted documents to the UN that said, in the most formal and cordial way possible, "Bugger off, mate," and "You're wrong." As of now, the area between the Irish, British, Danish, and Icelandic EEZs is nobody's, as it shall remain for some uncertain amount of time. Losing a whole world's worth of territory has got to be rough, but what's even worse is losing a password. While Dashlane can't help prevent the dismantling of your empire, it can help you keep your passwords. Dashlane helps you create super secure, nearly uncrackable passwords for each site you use, autofills them when you go log in, and protects them behind just one super secure password that you need to remember. Of course, something that cool must be super expensive. Oh wait, it's free at dashlane.com/HAI. Of course, Dashlane also has some super cool premium features to help protect your online identity like a VPN, syncing across devices, and dark web monitoring, which you can get for 10% off by using the code HAI when upgrading.